2021 is just around the corner, which means that the Logitech G29 and G920 have been out on the market for around 6 years. With that being said, are they worth around $250 in 2021? Let's find out. Before we get started, I want to mention that I have been using the Logitech G29 for over 6 months now, and it has been my main sim racing wheel and pedals up until December of 2020, which is when I am making this video. For this video, I will talk about both the G29 and the G920 because they are pretty much the same thing, but I will touch up on that in a little bit. For the simplicity of this review, I will split up the video into 3 main parts: the positives, the negatives, and my final thoughts and recommendations. Timestamps will probably be in the description of this video, but that really just depends on how motivated I feel when I go to upload it. And of course, if you are interested in it, a link to both the G29 and G920 can be found in the description of this video. As always, sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's get into it. Coming in at the relatively low price of around $250 give or take, the Logitech G29 and G920 are accessible to most who are interested in getting into the sim racing world, and for that price you get a pretty decent wheel. The wheel itself is made out of genuine leather, which feels very nice and is relatively grippy on the hand. The G29 features an LED indicator which tells the driver when they should upshift and when they are redlining, which is extremely helpful when racing. It is important to note that the G920 does not include this indicator. And on that note, let me discuss the differences between the two real quick. The G29 is compatible with the PlayStation 4 and the new PlayStation 5. In terms of internal specs, it is identical to the G920. As you would imagine, the G920 is compatible with the Xbox One and whatever the new Xbox is called. Of course, these two are compatible with PC. The main difference between the two is the design. Here is a photo of them side by side. In my opinion, the G29 looks so much cooler than the G920, so that's why I went with it. I have heard that as a result of it looking nicer, it is slightly more desirable and therefore a little bit more expensive for the most part. This largely depends on where you're looking, however, as they both sit around the $250 mark. Unless of course you want to buy it directly off the Logitech website, which for some reason sells it for $400. In terms of the wheel specs, they're pretty good for the price. The wheel can rotate up to 900 degrees and it has a dual motor force feedback with an overheat safeguard. The force feedback gives around 2.1 Nm of torque, which is decent but is nowhere close to some other higher end wheels. From my experience, the force feedback has been fine, but it's not nearly as fine-tuned or realistic as other higher-end wheels. But again, if you're looking for this relatively low-cost entry wheel, it's not so bad. Another great thing about this wheel and pedal set is that it comes with 3 pedals. It features a gas and brake pedal, as you would imagine, and a clutch pedal for those who like to drive manuals. I'm not a big fan of the pedals, which I will talk about soon, however. Being a mass market and popular wheel, it is pretty much compatible with any racing game you can imagine, so there's no need to worry about that. The wheel also features an abundance of buttons, which is great for more complex racing sims where you have to bind a bunch of things to different buttons. The buttons do feel like any regular cheap controller, so don't be expecting some motorsport grade reliability out of them. Mounting the wheel and pedals is also relatively simple. For those who are going to be using it on a desk, the wheel features desk clamps which will accommodate most desks. If you're mounting it on a cockpit like I have here, there are plenty of mounting holes at the bottom which make it extremely easy to mount. Also, being a popular wheel, nearly every cockpit works with it. In terms of the pedals, they feature an extendable carpet grabber. I don't really know what it's called, so I'm just going to call it a carpet grabber, which grips onto the carpet. If you're putting these down on irregular wood or tile surfaces, however, you will definitely need to put something behind them to prevent them from moving. The brake pedal requires quite a bit of force to fully push down, so you will definitely send them flying if you don't. I have mine on my cockpit and they work fine, and again, this pedal set is relatively common and it can attach to pretty much every cockpit. The wheel features brushed stainless steel paddle shifters, which have a nice click to them but are not nearly as tactile as newer and slightly higher end models. From my time using them, which is nearly every time I play a racing game, I have had a good experience shifting through the gears with them and they have always done the job. That's all the positives I can think of for now, so let's move on to the negatives. To be completely fair, there aren't that many negatives when accounting for the wheel's price and mass market availability. But there are still some things to keep in mind, especially when looking to get serious about sim racing. In my opinion, the biggest negative has to be the pedals, particularly the brake. Though the pedals themselves are stainless steel and look decent, the plastic body definitely takes away from the look and feel of them. The brake pedal is potentiometer based, which means it measures the amount you want to brake based off how much the pedal has traveled. This is not accurate to how a real car feels. In a real car and in higher end load cell pedals, braking is measured by the amount of force you lay down on the pedal. This means that the brake pedal will feel unrealistic and it will take a while for you to fully get used to them, especially if you drive in real life. Like I said, I've been using these for about 6 months and I've never felt confident with my braking, which is the main reason I'm upgrading to a load cell pedal set. I'm not saying you can't be fast with these pedals, it will just take a lot of practice and it will lower the immersion overall. The force feedback of this wheel is also not super good. At times it feels jerky and can be extremely loud depending if you hit a curb or something like that. If you spend a little bit more, you can definitely find other wheels with far superior force feedback capabilities. Another thing to note, and something that is a little bit annoying, is that the G29 and G920 do not come with the Logitech shifter included. If you want to get a true manual experience, you have to purchase it separately for around $60. If you're interested in that, I have a short review of the Logitech shifter as well, so make sure to check it out on my channel. As I touched up on earlier, the buttons within the wheel do not feel tactile nor high quality in any way. They all do the job at the end of the day, which is fine, but it definitely takes away from the immersion. I have the biggest problem with this red dial, which being completely honest sucks. It is not precise at all, and you never get a good feel of how much you're dialing up or down. I have this set to my traction control, and whenever I go to move it, I can never get it perfectly where I want it. The dial is pretty much just for the looks. Overall, the G29 and the G920 pedal set is not bad for the price, but it will not meet everyone's needs, and here's what I mean. I would recommend this wheel to any child or young adult who wants to play games like Forza, Gran Turismo, or any similar simcade racing game in the market with a wheel. Those games do not require immense precision, and this wheel will allow them to get a solid entry into the online racing without requiring too much sacrifice. For those like me who want to take sim racing more seriously, really value immersion and realism, and play more realistic racing games where every millisecond matters, I would look into higher end Thrustmaster gear, which will both up the realism and the feel of the game. If you don't know whether you will like sim racing and have a slightly higher budget, I would recommend looking at slightly more expensive gear, which will drastically up the immersion and feel of the game. And trust me, once you get into sim racing, you will never really want to go back to playing Call of Duty or CSGO. Trust me, I know from experience. If you're a parent and want to give your child a super cool Christmas gift, go right ahead. This is perfect for them, but don't be surprised once they fall in love with sim racing and are asking you for upgrades in a few months. Overall, I'm happy with my experience with this wheel, and I will always remember it as my first.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
I hope this video brought value to you and you enjoyed watching it. If it did, a like would be very much appreciated. Clicking the like button takes about 3 seconds, whereas making this video took about 5 hours, so please? A link to purchase this wheel can be found in the description of this video, as well as a link to my review of the Logitech shifter. With all that being said, thank you all for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic rest of your day.